We continue with the conversation on the controversies trailing the card readers. Former Governor of Ekiti State and a key member of the APC Presidential Campaign Organization joins us now. Dr. Kayode Fayemi, thank you for joining us on the program.
Sure, thank you for having me.
Incidentally, your state, Ekiti, was one of the states, the 12 states where INEC did the public demonstration of the card readers. From your own observation, how did it go?
Well, you've just dragged me back from Ekiti, where I monitored the exercise, and my party had representative in every unit just to see exactly how the card readers functioned. Quite apart from the low turnout, it went reasonably well from all the reports that I got from the various units where the card readers were tested. But you know, in these matters, the devil is always in the detail. The card readers worked, the time lag was reasonable. In many of the places, it was basically between 5 to 10 seconds. The management was hitch-free. But then you're talking about just one word out of 177 words in Ekiti, and roughly about 20,000 voters in that ward, 14,000 cards already issued, and probably less than 1,000 people who turned out for the test. So I have to add all these caveats. Whilst I agree that things went reasonably well, we have to still look at the gaps that exist within the system. For us in APC, we believe that technology can help curb the inadequacies of the process that had bedeviled the electoral system in Nigeria for as long as one can remember. However, in supporting the use of technology to achieve credible, fair, and free elections, we also must ask legitimate questions that this technology would not fail. I was in Ghana when the card readers were first used, and the very first day there were problems. Those problems were quickly fixed the next day, and ultimately it worked in favor of the credibility of the election. But that panic had set in the minute that happened, and Ghana is a much smaller population than ours. So maybe INEC would use the opportunity of this test yesterday to look at the gaps and reasonably address whatever fears any of the stakeholders might have.
Interesting. In some states, it was somewhat successful, like the INEC, the CPS, the INEC chairman said that it was about 90% success rate in some states. But do you think, I know your party has always been on the side of the use of the card readers, so you support 100%. And what would you say about those who are threatening to pull out of these polls? Should INEC go ahead with the card readers?
Well, you know, I really do not see the point in anyone talking about pulling out. I mean, here is a president that has spoken to us about using technology to curb corruption, that his own way of dealing with corruption in Nigeria would be to use technology. This is a technology to curb political corruption. And political corruption is even more damaging than economic version of it. So I do not believe that anyone should be opposed to this, provided we all can see that it is in the best interest of the credibility of the election. And I believe that INEC actually worked with political parties. They invited political parties. We were represented, I'm aware of that. And I believe other political parties were also represented in that process to discuss step by step what they want to do with the card reader. And Professor Jega was also at the National Assembly, I believe, on the floor of the Senate, and took time to explain this. Now, I don't work for INEC, and INEC does not really have, quite frankly, 100% credibility with Nigerians, not the least, not with someone like me. I've gone through various challenges with INEC. But we must never let the perfect become the enemy of the good. If the system can provide a good, credible, reasonable, fair, and free process, it's the process that I'm interested in, because the process is much more important than the outcome. If the process is credible, the outcome will be acceptable to all.
A lot of people will say that the issue of the card reader, the election, the accreditation process is just one phase of it.
But in Nigeria, the accreditation process has been a key vehicle for fraud.
But then, after
because multiple voters and a range of malfeasance take place at the accreditation stage, not really at the counting or collation stage. There are also other fraudulent practices that can take place at those other levels. But one of the things that this does is, from my understanding, it's already programmed to identify the number of people at the unit, and you cannot use it outside of the particular unit that it's been programmed to work at. So if you already have 100 voters in this particular unit and only 99 of them turned up, that is already sent to the back end of the operation, that these were the number of people that turned up to vote in the particular election. So collation is not just manual now, it's also electronic. And getting it right at the accreditation stage should help at the collation stage as well.
Of course, everybody knows that some of most Nigerians will now be aware that the voter register is very important. And of course, a lot of people will welcome the fact that if you can correct the anomalies that comes in the accreditation process. But again, I'm not sure INEC, or do you think that INEC is looking at the stages of where a lot of issue in the past, ballot stuffing happens during voting process. A lot of, in recent past, we've seen a lot of anomalies happen during the voting stage. And all of those stages, there are no such creation, no such creativity brought into it, like that of the card reader to stop any kind of fraudulent practice.
Well, using technology should not take away human intelligence. All the parties are still supposed to have agents at all levels, both from the unit level to the state collation center. And I believe that eternal vigilance remains the price to pay for freedom and liberty. I do not think we should dump everything on the laps of the card reader. We have a duty as a political party to make sure that our agents are also trained to look out for these gaps that might bedevil the system.
A lot of people at some point, I mean, there are some allegations somewhere saying that they're not surprised that your party was game with INEC in most of the decisions INEC has made, especially on the issue of car leaders, and the allegations that your party has links with Professor Jega.
I think that's absolute balderdash, really. If there's any political party that has links with Atahiru Jega, it's the PDP.
How?
He was appointed by a PDP government. Yes, his appointment was ratified by a Senate that comprised of members of our party, but we were not in the leadership of that Senate. And every single person appointed as either a national commissioner or a resident electoral commissioner in the past 16 years have gotten there via party affiliations. Don't let's beat about the bush. I can give you names of INEC officials who were senior members of the PDP. Lawrence Nwuruku was the chairman of PDP in, what's the state? One of the Ebonyi states.
Lawrence Nwuruku is one of the national...
He's now a national commissioner in INEC. He was the chairman of PDP in Ebonyi state. And many others who are there, they have direct links, not partial links, direct active links to PDP. Name one person on the INEC board